Yo, what's up guys? This is Rise and welcome to another video. I recently got back from Anaheim, California at the Pokemon Go World Championships where I was a competitor. Didn't do too well by my expectations, went 2-2 overall. I think technically finished like 49th place or something like that out of 227 participants. So not a great performance for me, but what we were treated to was an epic finals and two amazing battlers in the grand finals, Pokémon and Beelzeboy. Pokémon representing Spain, Beelzeboy representing India, and these two had a match to remember for the ages that we're going to be breaking down in this video. A little bit of a storyline. Pokémon has had one of the greatest seasons of any player ever. He won the European International Championship. He got third place at the North American International Championship. He had a runner-up finish in regionals. I think his lowest finish this entire season was something like 9th place, just in extreme consistency. Beelzeboy from India has a different qualification system. We don't see him as much, but he got 4th place at the World Championships last season and is trying to improve on it with an even better finish this season. Has already, in this video, you'll see he's in the finals, so clinched top 2 and is trying to get that title for himself. Without further ado, let's get into the battles. And here are the two trainers doing a little bit of a pre-match interview. And this actually took place in an arena in Anaheim, connected to the convention center. Very cool. Shout out to all the production team putting this all together. First time that the Pokemon World Championships had been done in an arena like this. And Pokémon, being on the winner's side of the bracket, has not yet lost at this point in the tournament. So Beelzeboy is going to have to beat him twice in 2 best-of-5s to actually take him down here and become your Pokemon Go World Champion. The players getting set. We see Jim talking to some family and friends of the two players with their words of encouragement. And the players exchanging their team sheets. But they had a whole night to prepare and get ready for this. They definitely know what each other are running. And then I'm sure they have their strategies. Now, we look at the teams, pretty standard on both sides. Pokémon known for running Spice, but I'd say this is one of his more standard teams. Beelzeboy, a little bit of a more obscure team you're going to see, as he is going to be running a Shadow Steelix along with Shadow Annihilate. So 2 of the lesser used picks. But then, of course, the Lapras, the Shadow Marowak, very common. Tinkaton and Galarian Moltres also quite common. And you have to give the team composition advantage to Beelzeboy in this matchup because the Steelix has play against everything on Pokémon's side except for the Marowak. The Steelix is very free. The Moltres is also very free. And that makes it difficult for Pokémon to bring the Marowak. In a sense, he has to bring the Marowak for the Steelix, but also it's tough because, you know, Moltres, there's no reason not to bring Moltres every single time if you're Beelzeboy. Because what's going to counter the Moltres? I mean, Cradily, kind of. Golisopod, kind of. But Golisopod, keep in mind, is actually running Shadow Claw. So I take that back. This is a Shadow Claw Golisopod on Pokémon's side. So even that, when it's running Fury Cutter, it has a good matchup against Moltres because you outpace and the Fury Cutters really add up. So Moltres doesn't even get to double fly if you take the Aqua Jet. But because it's Shadow Claw, it's not even a Moltres counter. So Moltres is so free. Here we go. A positive matchup for Beelzeboy, but does he have what it takes to beat Pokémon 2 matches in a row, 2 best-of-5s in a row? Here we go. Beelzeboy leads the Shadow Steelix into the Lapras with the bow tie. And also, one thing I failed to mention is these two faced each other the day prior on day 2. And Pokémon was able to take that series 2-1. So Beelzeboy now, you could argue, has the upper hand. He's the one that can make the necessary adjustments to try and flip this series. We see Moltres lined up against the Corsola. Goes for the Brave Bird, perhaps not sure if a fly would knock out from that range. And is going to invest the Protect Shield into the Moltres. Has gone down to Protect Shield. But think about the return he gets out of this Moltres. And look at this, anticipating the instant Sparkling Aria, catches onto his own Lapras here and is able to save the energy on his Moltres. This looks really good for Beelzeboy. He does get off this Sparkling Aria against the Marowak, and because of the damage he took, should be approaching Rock Slide range onto his Lapras. Patoman's going to be forced to throw here. All shields are down at this point in the game. Lots of energy on the Moltres here. You see the nice overfarm. I'm going to go for the Brave Bird to guarantee the knockout. Fly might just barely not be enough from here. And this is going to make it so he actually just simply gets to another Brave Bird. And going to take a pretty clean Game 1 win for Beelzeboy. Setting the tone of this grand final. Setting the tone, saying, I have a positive matchup, and you're going to have to work hard to overcome it, Patoman. Patoman, very confident player. Has a lot of swagger. Knows he's one of the best. And a great story with Patoman as well. I mean, he had multiple runner-up finishes at regionals before eventually winning his first tournament, and you just saw the emotion pour out. And you've seen it with a lot of players. You've seen it with Wadaj. You've seen it with Elam. You've seen it with Patoman. Like, once they get that first win, they seem to just never look back and just keep getting better, go on a great stretch after that first win. It just does immense things for their confidence. Here we go. Game number 2. We see a swap out scenario, and the Credilli is going to shield the first charge attack and then get off the Rock Tomb to debuff the Moltres. This is one of the more favorable positions for Patoman to be in, seeing the Moltres, and he has to make a decision here. A Brave Bird would still knock out, calls the Fly, and gets off the Rock Tomb. Now, check out this play from Patoman. He understands he's just going to get farmed down, so he gives up Switch. He sees there's no reason for him to stay in. He's just going to get farmed down, saves his shield, and Beelzeboy, I think that was the smartest thing he could have done. He built up a bunch of energy that he can use for later on Moltres, and then he swaps into his own Lapras to absorb all this energy. But he is playing down a shield, and there is a bit of a desync in the switch timer. That is what Patoman has to try and work with to win this game. How do you win this if you're Patoman? You know that the Moltres has so much energy, and how are you going to be able to deal with that? Well, he uses the desync switch timer to his advantage. He's going to save some energy on Lapras, swap into the Corsola now. He still has that shield to hide behind, but he got a head start here with the Corsola, and he knows that shields are down on Beelzeboy's side. So he's going to be able to shield this up and just fires off this Power Gem. Doesn't want to take any Sucker Punch damage unnecessarily. And this makes it so he's not quite in range of a charge attack from Beelzeboy. I think an Ice Beam will be close, but probably not quite enough to knock out the Corsola here. Corsola gets another Astonish off, comes in right away and gets the farm down. Has double Sparkling Aria as well for the Steelix. I mean, if this was pretty much anything other than maybe the Tinkaton, I think double Sparkling would have been enough anyway. So Tinkaton might have been like the only potential win condition there for Beelzeboy, but Steelix, super effective damage, going to two-shot that Pokemon and even up the series 1 game apiece. See a little bit instant replay here, and we skip ahead to game number 3. Patoman has those signature Psyduck plushies on his side. Game number 3 is going to be Marowak into Lapras, and we see Patoman building up a little bit, maybe a catch attempt, unsuccessful, but he knows that Lapras is a pretty safe swap for him. Beelzeboy seems reluctant to bring the Annihilate because the Corsola is coming pretty much every game, because Corsola is only afraid of Moltres. And also, we know the Golisopod is Shadow Claw, so that has more play against the Annihilate as well. So the Lapras is also a pretty safe switch against Beelzeboy's team as long as the Annihilate isn't there. We see Lapras take switch advantage from Beelzeboy, but this is okay because it allows Beelzeboy to get a head start on energy with Moltres, and he calls the Bone Club bait. Now, that is a savage call, but he also has the awareness, right, that there's not a lot of fast attack pressure against Moltres on Patoman's team. So even if he takes the Rock Slide, he's probably still going to get a lot of utility out of the Moltres, but that is still a devastating no-shield for Patoman. Going for another charge attack here, and Patoman has to try and get off this Rock Slide to give himself a chance, but he actually saves it. He swaps into Golisopod and knows this game is practically over. Moltres knocks out the Golisopod and just going to tap his screen. Moltres proving to be a major issue here for Patoman. And this, I'm sure Shadow Claw in certain games helped Patoman get to this point, maybe against Ghost-type Pokemon, because when Shadow Claw Golisopod gives you another counter to popular ghosts like Dusclops, like Corsola, but it is going to hurt you against these dark types like Galarian Moltres. So this is a matchup where the Shadow Claw is hurting him a little bit. And the decision from Beelzeboy to not value the switch advantage, to let it go and instead value energy with the Moltres, proves pivotal in that game to defeat Patoman here. So here we go. Beelzeboy 1 game away from resetting the bracket, forcing another best of 5. And we have the Lapras Mirror to start things off. Neither Lapras with Skull Bash. So that is going to make this a very even match here. Was that a charge attack priority? Did we see that Patoman is going to win the chart? Yeah, I think that was a chart attack priority. So Patoman with slightly higher attack on his Lapras. And knowing that could be useful because, well, I guess double doesn't quite knock out here. So maybe it doesn't matter too much because I think you barely hang on to another one. So we might see a swap out if the players don't want to use that energy here. They feel like it's more valuable elsewhere. Patoman going to take this and then, like we said, maybe look to bank the energy. Oh, no. He tried to do one and throw, maybe trying to avoid the catch, but had actually a bit of a misplay there, not allowing himself to get it off. And now we're going to see Moltres come in just so safe in this matchup. Patoman is going to like that his Corsola is avoiding the Moltres, but also Fortress has already taken a fly. I mean, this is getting really scary. If this Moltres farms you down, how the heck are you going to get rid of it? Well, you're doing a lot of bug bite damage, but now this is so awkward. Like, this is not a comfortable Astonish downrange for Corsola. We see Beelzeboy looking to get out, and he banks a charge attack with his Moltres. So if he can just simply pull a Protect Shield with his Steelix, should be in a good position. But he's not even going to bother going up for Crunch. He's just going to go straight Psychic Fangs. And I do like this play. Put on the pressure as soon as possible, because now fast attacks are probably going to be all you need. You still probably get a couple Sucker Punches, 3 Sucker Punches perhaps, from Moltres if you need it. So at this point, I'm going to throw another Psychic Fangs. Would this do more than just committing to Thunder Fangs? I don't know, maybe. But I think either way is fine. This should knock out, and then Beelzeboy's just hoping that he lives one Astonish on his Moltres, and he does. 2 Sucker Punches, knocks out. And that is going to be a match win for the battler from India, Beelzeboy. Very impressive. Utilizing what he learned from the previous day and putting it into action in this first set. Now, if there's anyone that can maybe overcome a matchup like this, it could be Patoman. An extremely confident battler. Back against the wall, and he's done this before. I believe the comments can fact check me if I'm wrong, but I believe when he won the European International Championship, he went down 3-0 against Zweilous, and then he was able to put that behind him and then win the second set to win the championship. So he's been in this spot before. Cradilly making an appearance against the Steelix here. Not the best matchup for Cradilly by any means, not the worst matchup. And this is a play that maybe Patoman knows something more than me, but I don't think that Rock Tombing here is the play. I think he's like he's really valuing the switch advantage and the alignment here, and wants to make sure he gets alignment. So I guess it makes sense. But double Grass Knot nearly knocks out anyway, and the Rock Tomb just does so little. And and this just is so brutal. What a catch and what a read from Beelzeboy, catching on the double up, and now going to go for the Rock Tomb here. Beelzeboy gonna put up the shield, and you are able to debuff the Moltres here. However, you essentially lost an entire Grass Knot, and that Steelix is so healthy there, lurking in the back, and the Marowak isn't even in the game, right? So you don't have a hard answer for the Steelix, which is still so healthy. Pato Man going to put up the Protect Shield here, and we're going to see an aggressive swap out, and now has to dump all this energy in the form of Sand Tombs, which are just such an inefficient attack. I mean, you've got so much energy on your Fortress. Rock Tomb would be nice to throw at something, but you're dumping it all into Sand Tombs against the Steelix. Beelzeboy going with a Savage Psychic Fangs Bay. It's called by Pato Man. That would have been a devastating shield if that was used. And then Pato Man, I think a little bit of a miscount here because you see his reaction. It's the crunch. I don't think he suspected Beelzeboy was at the crunch just yet. So perhaps a little bit of a miscount there. It happens to all of us. And then all the energy goes to waste. And I think this was one game where you saw a little bit of maybe frustration from Pato Man, where maybe he was just not 100% locked in this game, and a few different mistakes there as Beelzeboy just super one step ahead really throughout in order to take that game. And it's easier to do that when you have a safer matchup, a more positive matchup. When we saw Pato Man, like you're throwing Rock Tomb in the lead, right, against a Steelix, against a Steel ground type, double resisted because you value switch advantage that much. And you have Beelzeboy just freely swapping his Galarian Moltres and making a catch as well. Like, one player is fighting so hard for switch advantage, and one player can practically freely swap multiple Pokemon in this matchup. I guess mainly the Galarian Moltres, but you can also pretty freely swap the Lapras as well if you're Beelzeboy. And as long as the Marowak's not there, you can swap the Steelix as well. But normally you can't really swap the Steelix out of fear of a Marowak. 1-0 Beelzeboy. And what speaks to a great trainer, I think, is when you can have a game like that. Pato Man, I mean, he did get kind of, to use a word that was used against me when I played a trainer named Elite, got kind of eviscerated in that battle. When you can bounce back after a battle like that and win. Let's see if he can do that here. Gets a solid lead. Corsola against Lapras is a pretty even matchup. Lapras can win that in the 0 and 1 shield scenario, but still a solid matchup. And then lures out the Moltres swap, I guess I should say. Credilli comes in and is going to get off the Rock Tomb. Once again, he actually called the fly, so he's able to get to another Rock Tomb. Beelzeboy not going to let him get that move off first, of course. Going to throw the fly here on Charter Type Party. Pato Man going to shield, get off the Rock Tomb, and Beelzeboy going to invest in the Moltres yet again, using both Protect Shields. And we see the same thing, actually swapping this time the Corsola into the Moltres and throws the Power Gem. Beelzeboy maybe being a little bit too fancy, a little bit too cute, didn't swap out. Didn't expect Pato Man to throw right away. Could you imagine if he had like caught on the Steelix there? That would have been just nasty. But now going for the Nightshade here. And Pato Man still up a Protect Shield. It's going to be really favorable for him in this situation. We do see the Crunch coming through. And this is a big Protect Shield this time from Pato Man, because now he can get off this Nightshade, knocking out the Steelix. And it's basically just Lapras against Lapras in the back. But Pato Man also has a little bit of health on his Corsola and Credilli as well, which is going to be helpful in securing this matchup. You basically got a mirror match here and a little bit of help from your two teammates, your Corsola and your Credilli in the back. So should be a pretty simple win con here from Pato Man. Just stay in, do as much as you can with your Lapras, and looking to even up the series. And the mind games at this level are just so crazy, right? Beelzeboy like has made some crazy catches, and that time he was didn't expect Pato Man to throw right away, I think, so he didn't swap out there. Maybe he also lost track. Maybe he was like one off on his counts. That's another possibility. But after Pato Man goes down in very convincing fashion game 1, takes a commanding game 2 win, and evens up the series 1 game apiece, and you suddenly start to think, man, maybe Pato Man, he's got the experience. He's been on the big stage more times than Beelzeboy. Maybe he can do this, even in a negative team matchup. Maybe he can find the way. Prove he's the main character. Either way, he's the main character. He's the Pato Man. He's the superhero in this story. Annihilate says it's go time, and oh, it is go time. Annihilate making its first appearance of the series, and it catches a positive lead into Credilli. This is one of those strategies. When you play so many games against someone, you kind of start to lull them into not respecting the Annihilate. Beelzebub had not been bringing it at all, and maybe you start to disrespect it if you're Patoman. I wouldn't say he really disrespected it in this battle because he did bring 2 answers for it, but he at least was weak to it in the lead. So Beelzebub bringing it at a good time. We see Golisopod with the Shadow Claw. Not going to be great here against Moltres. And Moltres not only going to win this matchup even shields, but comes out with a sizable amount of health and is going to get off a Brave Bird before going down. This is devastating for Patoman because now he has to use another shield. And he just was not able to get any sort of advantage out of that counter swap situation. Beelzebub taking the Grass Knot fairly well. And this is just going to be too difficult for Patoman here. Corsola does have the super effective power gem here, but you are down a Protect Shield. Now it is even. But as you're going to see, Beelzebub going for the Ice Beam. You just need 2 Ice Beams essentially to win this matchup. It depends on the Corsola. I think Sparkling Aria plus Ice Beam is enough sometimes. But yeah, Beelzebub might just play it safe and go for another Ice Beam here. Power Gem comes through. And no, I take it back. He's actually going to build up to Sparkling. Patoman upset he couldn't swap out there. If we take a little replay, I think that functioned how it was supposed to. I think that was thrown just a half second before he was able to swap. Credilli comes back and actually farmed up enough to get to the Ice Beam here. Perfect energy management from Beelzebub to take a 2-1 lead against the Patoman. Just gameplay at the highest level. Worlds is so crazy, man, because you have all sorts of high-level players, and people try to make their predictions on who they think is going to win it all, and a lot of people said, like, Elam, Marto, Axon, for good reason, myself included, right? Pocket. And a lot of the players that you expected or the favorite picks to make day 2 and maybe go all the way, like maybe only a couple of them actually ended up going far in this tournament. Here we go. Game number 4. Beelzebub could become the world champion with a win here. Steelix into Corsola. Now, you may think this is positive for Steelix because you have the super effective crunch, but because Corsola is just a little bit stronger, bulkier, and has the neutral Astonish that is going to hit very hard, it does win all even shield scenarios here. So this is a more positive lead for the Corsola than the Steelix. As you're going to see, lands the crunch, but you get to that second Nightshade first after the crunch. So Beelzebub just going to be content letting this go. Patoman looking to swap immediately, does not want to surrender a big farm down here, expecting the Moltres. And here we go. Moltres comes in, and we're going to see the swap into the Lapras after banking some energy. Now, this feels kind of winnable for Patoman because you're going to have the Credilli lined up against the Moltres in the back, although the Moltres does have a lot of energy. But we also saw another desync in the switch timer. The major question here is, how do you utilize the Corsola if you're Patoman? You have a Corsola with some health. Where the heck are you going to be able to utilize it here? He's going to swap it, and he actually catches a Sparkling Aria. He was just trying to swap as soon as he could, but he's able to catch a Sparkling Aria in the process, and then comes in with the Credilli here. Now, this is a huge decision if you're Patoman. No shields the fly yet again. How many flies, Buzz, has this man called in this series? Goes for the Rock Tomb here. You have to shield this if you're Beelzebub. And now going to build up a ton of energy. Goes for the fly. Is at the back-to-back as well. Patoman may be looking to double Protect Shield here. He's at the Rock Tomb. Moltres dry after this one, however. And his Lapras doesn't quite have an attack. Throws the Rock Tomb immediately. Beelzebub going to let this go. Swap into Lapras. Almost at the double. Needs to get to the double before Beelzebub can get there. First one gets the Protect Shield, has the second one. It's not going to be quite enough to knock out, but it's going to put it super low. And if you're Beelzebub, you have to throw at some point. He throws. This should knock out Patoman's Lapras. Patoman looks up. I think he's not quite sure the energy on the Lapras, and the fist pump ties up the series 2-2, gets the acid down on the Lapras. And here we go, man. This is what dreams are made of in Disneyland. What it all boils down to, one game to become world champion. Let me think about it. This is only the second time we've seen this. At the first ever World Championships, Dancing Rob against Godon Hada, we were in the same scenario. Bracket reset came down to game 5. When Axon won, I think it was Axon on the winner's side against Rubik's Master, and I believe it was 3-1. I think Yakai beat Inadequance. I don't remember. I want to say 3-0, but I don't want to do my boy dirty if it wasn't 3-0 when Yakai beat Inadequance. And this is the second time we're going to have a decisive game 5. One game, essentially, to decide your world champion. Unbelievable. The crowd going crazy in an arena. Look at that stage. How cool is that? How cool is that? Worlds is in San Francisco next season. Beelzebub's like, camera, don't look at me, I'm thinking. Get away from me. Don't show my team selection. Here we go. The power of Psyduck. Can Patoman channel it? Here we go. And it's a pretty neutral lead. It's what you want for a decisive game 5. And we see the aggressive pivot. Beelzebub going with his safety net. His Galarian Moltres. Gets a few sucker punches on the Corsola. And once again gets a head start. And Patoman likes that he's able to call the fly here. He's going to try and employ the same strategy, I would presume. He's going to try and pull both shields with the Rock Tombs and then look to pivot out. Last time we saw him pivot into the Corsola, maybe Beelzebub remembers that game and feels like if he played it differently, he could have won. So are we going to see Patoman pivot Corsola this time again? Yes, he is. Last time we saw... Oh, this time... Okay, last time we saw the Power Gem connect onto the Moltres. This time, Beelzebub wasn't taking any chances. He swaps at the Power Gem, and he's able to save the Galarian Moltres. That is massive. And now the crunch is coming through. This is tough for Patoman. Maybe he should have thrown the Nightshade earlier, because now he's forced to use his final Protect Shield. And you get the overfarm here. You come out with an attack, but here's the problem. I think Lapras has a little bit of energy. Moltres also has energy. So what do you do here if you're Patoman? Lapras comes in, and then Moltres counter swaps, but it has the Brave Bird here, and the problem is this does so much damage, and you can't farm down even after the debuff because of the resistance. You have to throw energy, and this is simply going to supply a huge farm down for Beelzebub's Lapras. Only is going to have to take one Sparkling Aria here, and as long as he's not in Power Gem range, he should be fine. Lapras against Corsola. Also, who wins Charge Attack Priority? Do you know? They're both so bulky. And throws the Ice Beam. This decision to throw the Ice Beam here, Sparkling Aria might not be enough. Ice Beam is enough. It knocks out. Credilli has no energy. And Beelzebub is going to become your 2025 Pokemon Go World Champion. The two youngsters hug it out. You see the crowd. That was San Hudigo, I believe, with his hand on his hips. He's a fellow Spanish player, and that's why he looked a little bit upset. Obviously, he's rooting for his fellow Spaniard. And Beelzebub from India, congratulations. He is your world champion. Here is a shot at your top 8. Beelzebub, Patoman, 2 Brazilians, LNDS Harjeff and Corlash at 3rd and 4th place. Lyle Jeffs representing Canada at 5th place. Maxi, a friend of mine, representing the UK in 6th place. I think Maxi's Welsh, if I remember correctly. Firestar at 7th place. Shout out to Firestar. One of his best finishes ever comes at the World Championships. Huge congrats to him. And Master here, the 2 Indian players in this tournament, both finishing in the top 8. Unreal results for them. I know I have a decent amount of people from India that follow my channel, so shout out to you guys, proving that you truly are one of the top regions in terms of PvP players. And did I Oh, I think here as well, I can show you guys the pose. Did they show that? Let's see. They live update the World Championship pose, and Beelzeboy also had a pretty legendary quote. Let's see if I can find it at the proper time.
Regionals in the broadcast. But we saw you have such a successful run last year, 4th place at 2024 Worlds. Now, obviously, the champion as well. Is there anything that you want to say to all the trainers around the world about who you are?
I'm Beelzeboy.
And he's the champion. Congratulations again.
Is there anything you want people to know about who you are? I'm Beelzeboy. Shout out to him, dude. Really humble as well. I'm someone that, you know, has always preached like humble in victory, humble in defeat. And, you know, maybe that's just his personality, but he was, I mean, he won the world championship and he is pretty calm in his demeanor, in my opinion, in doing so. Like, oh my gosh. If I was to ever accomplish something like this, like, I think I would probably be getting quite emotional. And you can tell he's excited, but like, how calm and cool is this guy, this kid, after doing something quite incredible. Huge congratulations to Beelzeboy. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video in this recap. Shout out to India for taking home the crown. We've had a different region win it every year. Technically, like, Asia won it last year as well, with Yakai from Hong Kong winning the World Championship. But obviously, India is considered kind of a different region within the realm of the Pokemon Go qualification system. They've got like their own qualification. So we've had Dancing Rob from Germany. We've had Axon from America. We've had from Utah, if I want to be specific. We've had Yakai from Hong Kong, and now Beelzeboy from India. I'm not sure where in India. Maybe if Beelzeboy watches this video, he can comment. But congratulations to you, dude, and all the best. Beelzeboy has been a competitor I've known about for a long time, just from like grassroots formats and everything. So I've always known how good he is with the GBL leaderboards. I've played him several times in grassroots formats, and to see him shine now on the world stage with back-to-back Worlds performances being so strong is just incredibly impressive, and seems to carry himself quite well. So hopefully he becomes a strong ambassador for the game as well over there in India, which has just such an immense global population, and I'm sure a very large player base as well. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below. All your comments are appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And all that said, thank you once again. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.